Tell us about Trump.
Guys, I'm calling it now. Donald Trump shooting the miss. It was an act of God, or at least some sort of spiritual intervention. Guys, I've waited for a while until more information has come out on this. But what do we know? The shooter, he used a scope. Not only did he use a scope, but he used a rangefinder as well. So under these circumstances, at that range, it becomes, he didn't miss, guys, all right? He did not miss. What happened was Trump turned his head. Now, the reality of this, guys, if Trump turned his head a second before or a second after, we would have had a totally different line of events. You know, the reality now would be a lot different. In the first context, if he moved his head earlier or later, whichever side you're looking at, you know, this round would have hit the back of his head and we would have a totally different scenario right now. Equally to that, guys, if he'd have moved it before and after, obviously differently, you know, this round would have totally missed his ear and you wouldn't have got the iconic pictures that you've got. You wouldn't have had all, you know, the images of Trump standing up with blood on his face. Guys, if you want more like this, don't forget to follow the link in our bio and go to our other platform because I'm going to do a deeper dive on this and a lot more. Guys, I'll see you guys later. And for you guys, we're going to talk about other stuff. We are going to talk about, you know, well, I'm going to talk more about Trump, but we're also going to talk about Russia making threats to the United Kingdom, deploying a further 150 conscripts to the Ukraine front. And we're going to talk more about this asymmetric warfare that's happening. It's real. You know, Russia are making, well, potentially Russia are making steps forwards. So, guys, let me just continue a little bit more then, you know, about the, you know, about the Trump incident, the Trump shooting. What we're seeing now, you know, as more information's come out about this, well, let me just share something quickly with you guys. Let me share this. Where are we? We do this one, and then I think this one, is it? Is it this one, maybe? No, it's not. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Where are we? There we are. Hang on, we've got... Hang on. Here we are, guys. So here we are, guys. You know, we're looking at this this infographic of the, you know, of the Trump incident. Now, lots of people have come out. There's lots more information on it now. A lot more has come out. You know, we're hearing that the police were inside the building that the shooter was on the top of. You know, we're hearing that the actual shooter went inside the venue with a spotting scope or a rangefinder, and he was scoping the situation. We've even heard that there was an incident where one of the sniper pairs was looking at the shooter and the shooter was looking at him. You know, so this kid, he had all these ranges worked out. He had everything, you know, and he was making this shot. At that distance, guys, anybody with any amount of training on a 5.56 rifle, 120 meters or whatever it was, you're expected to do this in basic training. This is not a difficult shot. And so you know, and again, the guy didn't miss the shot. The guy made the shot, but at the last moment, Trump moved his head. Now, guys, whether you see divine intervention or whether you see some sort of, you know, spiritual meaning to this, I don't know, but I'm saying, guys, there's, you know, this can't be all coincidence. You know, too many things are evident. So if we look here, guys, you know, this distance, 120 meters, he can't miss. This sniper pair, you know, these guys should have seen him, and as soon he shouldn't even got one round off. I don't want to talk about that, you know, because lots of people have talked about it. I just want to say that, and things are happening now that are just absolutely insane. You couldn't make this up. 1 second earlier, 1 second later, that Trump turned his head, or that guy, you know, took the shot, we would have had a totally different, you know, a totally different, you know, world of events at the moment. You know, either Trump would have took the round to the back of the head, and then, you know, that wouldn't have been a good thing, or, you know, it would have totally missed, and then you wouldn't have had the, you know, you wouldn't have had these, you know, these iconic images. And guys, the images are so iconic. Let me just share with you now, guys. Look at that image there, guys. Okay. Now, I thought initially when this came out, this was one of the reasons I couldn't believe that picture was so, guys, look at it. That picture is absolutely perfect. a second, a millisecond difference, and that round would have totally missed his ear. You would not have had that picture with Trump standing up there with blood on his face, with pumping his fist with the flag behind him. I wanted to find out who the photographer was of this, and he was actually wearing a GoPro. And you can see, you can find this online, and he's running around, and you can see him. It's not staged. He was just at the right place at the right time. And guys, all these things are conversion, and it's just absolutely, it's absolutely insane what we've got at the moment. So, that's what I think about the Trump shooting, guys. The timing, all that sort of stuff. It's just too perfect. Now, what you're seeing, and from my video yesterday, you're seeing these diversions now in real time. The United States are looking at, well, go check out my video that I did yesterday, guys. I don't want to, dwell on it too much yet. But also, I think yesterday, the Russians have come out and they've named 7 targets for the United Kingdom. So, they've come out on mainstream media, they've been talking about it, they're saying only 3 missiles, and I think they said Manchester, Birmingham and London. They've said that would destroy grind British civilization to a halt or whatever, and these are the things that are happening now. Now, remember, I've not, I've kind of been blinkered at them for a while, Remember the Russian perspective of this. Now, the Russians, they're under no illusion. They're fighting, they're fighting NATO. The Russian war machine has kind of ground down to it's combat ineffective now. It can only deal with Ukraine. So, it has to win Ukraine. Equally, NATO's put so much money into Ukraine, they have to win as well. What does a win mean? Nobody even knows what a win means. So we're both having this war. These two sides are fighting for a win, and nobody knows what a win is. So it doesn't look good. At least if we could say what a win was, that'd be, that'd be a starting point. So let me just quickly share this with you guys. The where are we? That one, I think. Where are we? There we are. So this one. So major UK targets for a potential nuclear strike. Where are we? Yeah, so here we are. I'll just read this very quickly, guys. So special attention to Britain, our traditional enemy. Under attack, Washington has put not only London, but Manchester and Birmingham, the largest naval base, Devonport, Clyde, Scotland, blah, 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 right? Where the King stores his Trident nuclear missiles. I don't think it's King Charles who goes and takes them down there, but we'll go with it. So these are the regions, guys, that that the Russians are threatening. So we've got the Clyde in Scotland, we've got Manchester, Birmingham, Chatham Dockyard, Kent, London, Portsmouth, and Devonport Naval Base. What I will say is the wind in the UK is predominantly west to east, so it's that way. So if you're obviously here, well, in any of these locations, and also I'd say to the east of these locations, you could potentially be in the the fallout range for if this does happen. I've said this for quite a while. I don't think these missiles coming in is the actual threat. I think the actual threat is from the Poseidon missiles that could come to this region, and then they'd cause tidal waves. But let's continue, guys. This is what the Russians have said. This is Britain at its most vulnerable. Basically, all it would take is 3 missiles and the civilization would collapse. So, guys, we can't, those threats that they're putting out there, they're kind of, non-ambiguous, and, they're telling us what they're planning. It's there. I'll put the links in the description, and, you can't argue with what those Russians are saying. That's what's coming out on Russian TV now. I don't believe that the UK have had this on, British media. I don't think, any UK pundits come up there and said, we're gonna destroy this, and this, and Russia. But I don't know. I don't really watch TV that much. So let's just quickly, while we're on the shared screen, guys. So Russia has now. Well, Russian conscripts, 150,000 troops, as Ukraine says it needs more arms. So Russia's now finished conscripting 150,000 new soldiers, and they're ready for the front line. And this all came out yesterday. Guys, all these timings seem to be knitted together somehow. You know, they really seem to be knitted together. And they just seem to be, you know, working perfectly. So what you're seeing now is you're kind of seeing, let me stop that. Yeah, so what we're seeing now, you know, this divergence is real. Guys, if they're, you know, if the Russians are thinking about peace, if anyone's thinking about peace in that region, if the Russians are not considering taking more land, why are they putting an extra 150,000 soldiers into Ukraine? You know, the coalition in the invasion of Iraq in 2003, they only had 300,000. So plus what's already in Ukraine, another 150,000. Guys, this is a massive, you know, it's a massive boost for the Russian military. Where's it going to end? You know, what have France said? France have already said that they'll commit troops. I don't know what the political situation is like in France at the moment. I don't know if that's going to happen. You know, I don't know whether it was just all speculation and a lot of hot air. But what we can see, and I've done a video, I think not the last one, yesterday or somehow, I'll try and link it at the end. You know, I did a video about this NATO, about NATO's irrelevance and this Eastern Shield. So Estonia, Baltic states and Poland. So this Eastern Shield, they're now, you know, Poland's put up its defense spending to 5% GDP. Everybody in that region are understanding what the potential is and what could be coming. You know, and the United States is kind of lifting off. And we've already said the United States doesn't want to get involved there. Russia's combat ineffective, so you know, why would America get involved when Russia's already bogged down? Russia can't do anything. You know, the threats for the United States are Indo-Pacific, where, you know, the United States may have to ally with who am I? Philippines, Taiwan, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, anyone else in that region, you know. And also, you know, from my video yesterday when this guy, JD Vance, has come out and he said, you know what, America's going to protect Israel. So if Israel has a war with Hezbollah, if Israel has a war with anyone, you know, America will go to their aid. And guys, you know, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just telling you what it is. And that's what we're seeing. And that's what the information that's given to us, you know, presents. Now, I'm not going to share it now, guys, but there's been more about this asymmetric warfare, about basically Russian fishing vessels have now been linked to undersea cable going missing. Doesn't sound very ominous, I know, but when you consider this, off the coast of Norway, there's a lot of undersea listening devices, because when a submarine, when anything's in the water, it makes a sound, whether that's the propeller making noise through the wash, whether it, anything, you know, it will make sound. And there's really sensitive listening devices under the sea, off the coast of Norway and all over that region, all over the North Sea. Now, these listening devices are listening for, you know, Russian submarines. There's been huge pieces of cable go missing. And I'll put the link, obviously, in the description. But these, you know, these pieces of fishing cable, it's fiber optic communications cable. Big chunks of it have gone missing. They've been cut at either end, and Russian fishing vessels have been, you know, trolling that area, you know, and then the fishing cable, and then the cable goes missing. Why is it important? Well, remember what I said at the beginning of this video with these Poseidon nuclear submarines. I feel that's the real threat at the moment to the UK. I don't feel, even though it came out on Russian media, I don't feel the threat to the UK is from intercontinental ballistic missiles. I feel it's these, you know, these Poseidon submarines that, as we know now, you know, this cable's being cut. It can be cut. It'll be cut again, you know. So once this cable's cut, there's no listening devices. So the Russian submarines, the Poseidon submarines, they can move freely now without being detected. Are they already here? Well, these nuclear-powered submarines, they don't need to surface. They don't need to come up for oxygen. They're essentially huge, slow-moving, but they can move fast. I think they'll move them slow. They're huge, slow. I would move them slow, but they're huge drones underwater, and they're nuclear powered, and they're also nuclear armed. So these things could come right into the coast of the United Kingdom. If they were traveling slow, really close to the ground, they could get so close to the UK, and then they could just loiter there for, you know, essentially until the tritium decays, which would be, you would have about, I don't know, maybe 6 to 12 years, depending on how it's, you know, I'm not an expert on, you know, on how that sort of stuff works. But I would like to think they could loiter for about 6 to 12 years. That's a long time, guys, you know. And in that time, of course, they'll be looking at changing those things out. You know, they'll be looking at changing them out, redeploying them, deploying them somewhere else. These are the things you would see happen before an attack. Guys, I'm going to leave it there and back to grid. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll try and get another video out to you later.